The world of psychology has long been captivated by the enigmatic and, at times, troubling personalities of narcissists. Recent scientific discoveries have unveiled groundbreaking truths that delve deeper into what makes narcissists tick, why they behave the way they do, and how their actions impact those around them. The term narcissist has grown to be a common phrase, often thrown around to describe anyone who shows signs of extreme self-centeredness. But in psychology, narcissism goes far beyond a mere vanity or inflated ego. It is a complex personality trait, or even a full-blown disorder, that touches on a person's very identity, influencing relationships, self-esteem, and empathy. Stay tuned, because as we peel back the layers, you'll discover how surprising these revelations are about narcissistic behavior, and they might even change the way you look at yourself and others. Before we dive into these exciting new findings, we invite you to subscribe, like, and share this content if you're interested in psychology, human behavior, or self-improvement. Narcissists are fascinating, but they're also people we come across daily in our personal lives, at work, or in the media. The more we learn about them, the better equipped we are to navigate the complicated interpersonal waters they stir. So let's embark on this journey together, discovering truths that could impact us all. Now let's get into the discussion, uncovering insights that science has only recently revealed about narcissists. For years, scientists have known about the telltale signs of narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, grandiosity, lack of empathy, a need for admiration, and difficulty maintaining healthy relationships. But recent studies show that narcissism isn't just a single personality trait. It's a complex mix of behaviors, genetics, and brain chemistry. Interestingly, narcissism can be broken down into two main types: grandiose narcissism and vulnerable narcissism. Grandiose narcissists are the bold, assertive types who dominate the social landscape, often displaying arrogance and an overwhelming need for validation. Vulnerable narcissists, on the other hand, are more subtle, characterized by insecurity, defensiveness, and hypersensitivity. These types appear very different on the surface, yet both reflect a distorted self-perception that masks a fragile ego. One fascinating finding from recent research is that narcissists have a distinct brain structure, particularly in areas responsible for empathy and emotional regulation. Using MRI technology, scientists have found that narcissists often have less gray matter in the left anterior insula, a brain region that plays a significant role in compassion and emotional insight. This structural difference offers a possible explanation for why narcissists struggle with empathy and emotional connection. They literally process feelings and emotions differently on a neurological level. Moreover, studies reveal that the origins of narcissism are often rooted in childhood experiences, particularly in the parenting styles a child encounters. Contrary to the stereotype of narcissists as simply spoiled, many narcissists actually develop their traits from an environment that oscillates between excessive praise and intense criticism. Parents who are overly indulgent may instill in a child an inflated sense of importance, while those who are excessively critical may create a person who constantly seeks approval to overcome feelings of inadequacy. This duality can lead to an adult who is both excessively self-promoting and deeply insecure, a key feature of narcissism. In addition to childhood influences, genetics play a crucial role. Research suggests that up to 64% of narcissistic traits can be attributed to hereditary factors. This means that narcissism isn't just a result of environmental factors or upbringing, but is often influenced by biology. It's fascinating to think that some of the traits we associate with narcissism, like attention-seeking and self-focus, could be partially embedded in our DNA. However, genes aren't destiny. Environment and experiences shape how these traits manifest and how intensely they affect an individual's life. Narcissists often navigate life through manipulation and control. A startling truth revealed by recent science is that narcissists are highly skilled at social intelligence, a fact that may surprise those who see them as emotionally deficient. Narcissists are usually astute observers of social dynamics, adept at reading others' emotions, and using this knowledge to manipulate situations to their advantage. This ability is particularly striking because it stands in contrast to their apparent lack of empathy. However, as researchers explain, the difference lies in their ability to understand emotions versus their willingness to share in or respond compassionately to them. Another revelation is that not all narcissists are consciously aware of their behavior. Some are acutely aware of their manipulative tendencies and use them deliberately. In contrast, others are almost oblivious to their actions, justifying or rationalizing their behavior in ways that paint them as the victims of misunderstandings. This phenomenon, called narcissistic blindness, is incredibly challenging for those around them because it makes the narcissist's harmful actions seem almost genuine or unintentional. One of the more surprising insights from recent research is the emotional vulnerability that lies behind narcissistic behavior. Beneath the bravado and the self-centered actions lies an individual who is often deeply insecure. Narcissists commonly have a fragile self-esteem, which they protect through their grandiose self-image. The moment their self-perception is challenged, they react with anger, defensiveness, or emotional withdrawal. This reaction, known as narcissistic rage, can be intense and bewildering for those who experience it. It's an immediate and visceral response that occurs when a narcissist's fragile ego is threatened. The impact of narcissism on relationships is profound and often devastating. Narcissists tend to engage in exploitative relationships, seeing others as tools for their self-enhancement rather than as individuals with their own needs and emotions. This pattern can lead to significant strain and conflict, especially as the narcissist's true nature becomes more apparent over time. People close to narcissists often report feeling used, devalued, and emotionally drained, a phenomenon known as narcissistic abuse. But what about the narcissists themselves? Are they doomed to a life of shallow relationships and endless conflict? Surprisingly, there is some evidence that narcissists can change. Studies suggest that with proper therapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, narcissists can develop greater self-awareness and empathy. However, the willingness to change is a crucial factor, and many narcissists are resistant to therapy, seeing no issue with their behavior or blaming others for their problems. Another critical aspect of recent findings is the role of social media in exacerbating narcissistic traits. Platforms like Instagram and Facebook create a fertile ground for narcissism, encouraging self-promotion, attention-seeking, and comparison. Studies show that frequent social media users, particularly those who post a high number of selfies or personal updates, exhibit more narcissistic traits. However, whether social media causes narcissism or simply amplifies existing tendencies is still up for debate. So what does all this mean for those who find themselves in close proximity to a narcissist? The most important takeaway from these revelations is the understanding that narcissistic behavior is often deeply ingrained and resistant to change. The best strategy for dealing with narcissists is to set clear boundaries, avoid feeding their need for validation, and protect one's own emotional well-being. Developing an awareness of their tactics can help individuals navigate interactions more effectively, minimizing the emotional toll these encounters can take. We've journeyed through the science behind narcissism, exploring how genetics, childhood experiences, and even social media contribute to this complex personality trait. Narcissists are often challenging individuals, but they're also a product of intricate psychological, biological, and social influences. The next time you encounter someone who exhibits narcissistic tendencies, remember that there is a complex mix of factors at play. While these insights are enlightening, it's crucial to remember that everyone deserves empathy, but that empathy must come with boundaries. Understanding these new revelations about narcissists gives us tools to interact more effectively, while protecting our own mental health and well-being. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey through the latest scientific insights on narcissism. Remember to subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed this exploration into human psychology. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the mysteries of the mind and the groundbreaking science that helps us understand each other better. See you next time.
To be seen, heard, and acknowledged for who we genuinely are as individuals is something that each and every one of us desires. Nevertheless, at what point does our yearning for acceptance transform into an unhealthy preoccupation with ourselves? At what point do we reach a point where we care so little about other people that we are willing to deceive and hurt them in order to satisfy our own desires? This ethical conundrum sits at the heart of egocentric behavior, and it is highly possible that the majority of us have come across someone who exemplifies this mode of thinking. You are well aware of the terrible agony that is caused by being manipulated by a psychopath if you have ever been a victim of such manipulation. What would happen, however, if you were able to protect yourself and regain your sense of calm? For the sake of clarity, pursuing retribution is not a good idea. When dealing with a narcissist, there are measures that you can do to protect yourself and set healthy boundaries. These measures can be taken. When it comes to handling relationships with folks that are self-centered, these 10 tactics will serve as a guide. 1. A lack of concern toward a narcissist. You can make a narcissist feel uncomfortable by ignoring them, which is an effective strategy. Because they are so preoccupied with how significant they are, they express a great deal of rage whenever other people disregard them. Being apathetic to them in both overt and covert ways, such as by not responding to their messages or by eliminating them from your life, can be an effective strategy. When you disregard what they have to say and how they are feeling, you deprive them of their authority and make them feel helpless, which is precisely what they experience as their greatest fear. 2. Don't pay attention to negative feedback. When narcissists criticize and knock down other people in a caustic manner, they frequently experience a peculiar sense of satisfaction. This is because it helps them feel better about themselves. The experience of being hurt by their comments can be difficult to manage, particularly if you have a low sense of self-esteem. However, it is essential to keep in mind that the critique they offer originates from their own deeply ingrained shortcomings and insecurities, and not from the sense of how valuable you are. 3. Develop your self-assurance and confidence throughout the day. It is important for narcissists to avoid being around people who appear to be self-assured and skillful. To conceal their own shortcomings, they intend to bring down the reputations of others. For the sake of demonstrating how much superior they are, they attack everyone and everything. Your ability to influence or exert control over them decreases as your level of self-confidence increases. You put them on the defensive and make it more difficult for them to exert control over you when you call their excessive self-assurance or sense of authority into question from the beginning. In order to get along with people who are self-centered, you need to exercise caution and patience. Taking care of your own mental health and establishing responsible boundaries is the most important thing you can do. Using these suggestions, you will be able to protect yourself from the negative effects that are caused by narcissistic influence. 4. Share the joy that you have achieved. To make a narcissist feel uncomfortable, one of the best ways to do so is to demonstrate that you are pleased yourself. The fact that the happiness and success of other people diverts attention away from themselves makes it difficult for narcissists to allow themselves to be affected by those things. When you demonstrate that you do not wish to fulfill their unending demand for attention, you demonstrate that you are actually embracing your own happiness and joy. You should also avoid making an effort to win the approval or praise of a narcissist. Rather than that, you should focus on the things and people who truly bring you joy. You should be aware that narcissists do not care about your happiness and frequently take a peculiar delight in seeing you go through difficult times. It is because they want to feel better about themselves that they behave in a nasty manner. Try not to let them pull you down or take away the joy that you know you deserve. 5. Refuse to meet their demands as soon as possible. People who are narcissists are obsessed with being the center of attention and would do anything to maintain their position as the center of attention. You might want to alleviate the stress by giving them what they want and putting up with their demands, but doing so will just make them feel more entitled and lead to behavior that is more focused on themselves. Instead of doing what they want, you should concentrate on your own requirements and ignore what they want. This is the most effective strategy to fight against their influence. In the event that a narcissist discovers that they are unable to obtain what they desire from you, they will immediately move on to another person. Do not pay attention to what they have to say. The majority of the time, narcissists prioritize their own desires over those of others, and they will say hurtful things to you in order to hurt your feelings or make you upset. It is essential to have the understanding that the destructive words they use do not demonstrate how precious you are. The alternative is that they employ words in peculiar ways in order to conceal their difficulties and place the blame on you. Don't forget the power that comes from within you, and don't let what other people say harm how you perceive yourself. The more you prevent others from experiencing the pleasure of seeing your emotion, the more powerful you become. 7. Do not feel guilty about declining an offer. Narcissists are exploitative individuals that take advantage of other people because they enjoy being in control and obtaining what they want. They make their victims feel guilty by indicating that they have not done enough to make them happy, and they do this without taking any shame in their actions. You, on the other hand, have the ability to safeguard yourself by just saying no. Do not allow guilt to drag you down or allow yourself to be fooled by their manipulations. Due to the fact that narcissists are solely concerned with what is best for themselves, you should prioritize your own health and happiness. 8. Never apologize for telling the truth at any time. As a result of a narcissist's attempt to weaken or diminish someone else's sense of self-worth, the person who is the object of the narcissist's actions frequently becomes upset and feels the need to apologize. However, not only does apologizing make the narcissist more powerful, but it also ensures that the cycle of shame continues. It indicates that you think their behavior is acceptable and that you agree with it. If being honest with yourself causes you to feel horrible for a brief period of time, you shouldn't apologize for it. By disagreeing with them, you should not allow your ego to make you feel that you are less important. Act as a champion for yourself. It is important to keep in mind that individuals are treated with love, respect, and kindness regardless of what their egos may think. This applause from them is just meaningless. 9. Taking responsibility and being confronted with the situation. People who are narcissists have the false belief that they are superior to everyone else and despise receiving any form of criticism, even if it is constructive feedback. The importance of having a conversation with them about how their actions affect other people and establishing clear boundaries cannot be overstated. The only way to ensure that narcissists are held accountable for their behavior is through direct, face-to-face communication or interaction. This approach not only reduces the amount of harm they inflict, but it also encourages them to reflect on their actions and ensure that they behave in a more cautious manner. Those who are narcissists are very skilled at exerting control over other people and in setting the blame for their actions on someone or something that is not within themselves. The act of telling a liar that they are mistaken or being disrespectful is a significant component of standing up for yourself. It is possible that if you are overly kind to them, it will cause them to behave in a more negative manner and cause them to avoid situations that bring out their concerns. In order to prevent being misled by a narcissist, it is important to stand up for what you believe in. Because a narcissist is not concerned with what other people think, it is important to establish clear and hard boundaries. Despite the fact that they may appear to be kind at first, you should be aware that they may be attempting to take advantage of you by making demands that you are not obligated to fulfill or by requesting favors that they do not merit. Refrain from giving in to their deceptions. Saying no or I'm sorry